For anyone running a business, at one point or another, you had to figure out what your logo would be. Some entrepreneurs don't put that much effort into their logos, but when you think about it, logos are all around us. From the apps on our phones to the entrances of the favorite restaurants we eat at, even on some of the chests of our superheroes. Logos are part of our culture, and they're essential to the brand and image of a business. So, in this episode, I wanted to truly understand what makes a good logo and what considerations to make while designing a logo that will best fit your business.
You're listening to the Business Mike podcast, amazing interviews with inspiring entrepreneurs. For more amazing interviews, go to www.businessmike.com or download our podcast every Monday from Pod Africa.
To get all these questions about logos answered, I spoke to two graphic designers. Andrew.
My name is Andrew Diete-koki. I'm a brand strategist, graphic designer.
And Luthando.
My name is Luthando Mfabe. I'm a designer, developer, and illustrator.
First, I wanted to understand the different types of logos that exist. When you analyze the Google, Apple, and Pepsi logos, they each have a distinct look. Google is simply text, Apple is an apple, and Pepsi is a sort of circle. So, what kind of logos are these?
There's a trend where mostly like blogs or like let me just say, for instance, your Vogue uses a word mark. A word mark actually is just it's just the word is the logo. You know what I mean? Like for instance, your Coca-Cola. If your brand is not really that known, and people are not familiar with your symbol, your logo, or familiar with your brand, or your brand is hard to pronounce, most brands use word marks. It makes it easier for people to create brand awareness in early stages of a business. And I can give you other examples. So it really depends on the type of company you have. Like, let's just say, for instance, a pictorial. Like a pictorial is like a symbol that represents the name of the company. Like, let's just say for Twitter, it's a bird. Like for Apple, it's an actual apple. It's easier for you to fit a symbol in an icon, like maybe say on a Facebook profile page or like a company's page on Facebook. It's easy to fit an icon so unlike fitting in a word mark. So like mostly like digital companies use icons like your Apple, and like it's easy to put an Apple in an Apple icon in a button. Another type of logo, which is an iconography. So iconographies are very abstract. So some of the examples that use iconography is BP and Pepsi. So like the iconography doesn't really have to mean anything, or it doesn't have to be a symbol of a specific thing, but it kind of represents what the company is all about. Like so that's how it works. Like Adidas too. So the three stripes you can't really use the three stripes as refer the three stripes to something that really exists in this world. Like the three stripes actually capture what the brand is all about. You know what I mean? Another type of logo that really popular with car companies, like for instance, it's called an emblem. What an emblem is, like your Mercedes Benz, a BMW uses like an iconography where the word is part of the logo, it's part of the symbol. Or Harley Davidson, or like let's just say for instance, football clubs do that too, where like the word is part of the emblem. Like the Arsenal logo has like guns and stuff, and then it has the name of the brand in the logo. You know what I mean? And there's also letter marks, where like for instance IPM, where the initials of the company are the logo. There's a lot of different types of logos out there, but those the first three are the main logos.
Okay, so we now know the different types of logos, but what about the colors? Do colors have different meanings? And if so, which ones best suit your brand?
Color is very, very important. Like, for instance, we can use MTN. MTN has a yellow color. You know what I mean? Like, it can be used to, like, a logo. A brand doesn't only end with the logo. Like, the color can be used in a way that, like, even if you don't see the logo, you still identify this is MTN. Color has, like, for instance, like your bluish colors are used by banks mostly. Like, if you look at Standard Bank, I don't know if you're aware of Standard Bank. It's a South African bank. Yes, they use a very bluish navy color, which like comes across as very corporate, very professional. And yellow has been. I remember in school while I was studying, we learned that like some brands like your McDonald's use like warm colors like your reds and yellows. It has been scientifically proven that your warm colors make you like hungry. Like, let's just say in a restaurant, or if the walls are yellow and stuff like that, it has been proven to make you have an appetite. And so it's important to understand the demographic in that area. Like, for instance, like in the Western world, white is used for weddings, but in China, white is used for funerals and stuff like that. So color can be can be used to communicate what the brand is about. So if you look at like your green products, like your products that care about the environment, use a lot of like green colors and stuff like that. That represents nature. So it depends on the demographic in that area and what the brand is trying to communicate.
Right. So when you have a company that you've just started and you're branding, you can't just pick your favorite color as a child. The color must be associated with the people you're targeting and have meaning to what you do and represent.
Yes. Yeah, like it has to. Like, people have to relate to it. Like, another thing is your target market. Who are you trying to communicate to? Like let's say, for instance, like if you look at Barbie, your Barbie dolls, if that's for girls, you use your pinks, your like very feminine color. But like if maybe it's for boys, you use a baby a baby blue color, like a powder blue type of color. So it actually depends on what you're trying to communicate to and who's your target market. Like if you look at like mostly tech startups are targeting a younger market. You know what I mean? Like if you look at your Twitter uses a very like powder blue. So it really depends on who you're trying to talk to, like who is your target market. That a color really plays a huge role in that.
All right. So we now understand color theory as well as the different types of logos. So what separates a good logo from a bad one?
I like my stuffs being simple, my logos being simple, and then it's another thing is for you to be able to remember the logo. Like you see, I've seen this thing somewhere. You might not get it at the first time you see it, but there's just more like a love at first sight, or a picture it paints in your mind the moment you see a very good logo. It just stays. You see it somewhere else. I've seen this thing before. So for me, a good logo is simple. It's the colors are not fighting themselves. A good logo is memorable. So anything other than that, for me, it's a bad logo.
What makes a good logo is something that's really, really easy to remember, something that's not too complex. And I really have I really don't like 3D logos. What makes a really good logo is contrast, like a positive and negative space. So when your logo is black and white, can people still identify your logo? You know what I mean? So there has to be that negative space. You see, like some of the biggest brands out there have a very good contrast, like a good positive and negative space in their logo. So that even when you put it on any type of background, your logo is still visible. So that's one of the most important things when you design logos. It has to be as simple as possible. It has to be clean and as soon as somebody sees your logo without maybe even knowing what your company does, like they can easily identify your logo. So a logo is just a symbol that represents your company, you know. So it shouldn't be like an artwork. It should be just there, and it's just the face of your company. So it should be as simple as possible. So that's what makes it a really, really good logo.
Up until now, we've only discussed logos. But logos are only a fraction of your entire brand. In order to have a consistent look on the various mediums like print and video, you need to have a set of rules that govern how your brand appears. These include the color palette, the type of font, and the different versions of your logo. These sets of rules are known as the brand guide.
The brand guide is very important because sometimes people tend to want to play with your brand and change the real or what it communicates. So for me, a brand guide basically communicates the operation of a business, the product, how the product is being used, how it should be used, how the company's, let's say a brand or a company's product is to be used. For example, on Twitter, if you go to, I'm not sure the link, but they have like their brand assets. They show you how their logo is used, what background it should be placed on. There are different. If you check online, if you, for example, search for a Twitter logo, you see different angles to it. But Twitter has their standard, and they're asking you, this is what we want you to use, how you should use it, what colors you should play with around it, because so many colors are not good with whatever logo that someone has designed. You might not use, for example, a client might not want you to use a green background on a blue logo. So I think a brand guide basically guides the user, guides whoever is interacting with the business and how to use the business, how it operates basically, and how each of the design elements of the logo or the brand should be used. Icons, images, fonts, colors, and all. Because it's very good, it's very important that these things are consistent. Because if you come to my site and you see, let's say, a blue background on my logo, and then you go to somewhere else and you're seeing a red, it's not actually good for the image of a brand. So it's very important that every client demands for. In fact, don't just design the logo. Design the logo and ask whoever is working, doing the logo for you to give you a brand guide. You can suggest to your designer, but it's very important that the fonts, the icon, the colors are consistent. So the brand guide helps helps for consistency of a logo or of a brand.
And just to add to that, I think it's also important when it comes to protecting your brand against counterfeit or fakes, because if you have a certain font and the way in which you organize your logo and lettering, if someone makes a duplicate of your product and doesn't pay that much attention to detail, a loyal customer will be able to look at the two and say, no, this is original because I know this is how they lay their font, these are the colors they use, and this is what their logo looks like. So it's helpful in that way as well, I would think.
Yeah, like that's really, really important, because what that does, it really like protects your brand. You really protect your brand from the beginning when you do that. Like people can tell that, okay, this is not this is a knockoff, because people can tell, okay, there's some type of inconsistency. Like usually, like I grew up in the township, and like the way I grew up, most people love brands and stuff like that, and some of the best experts at brand the brand. Some of the people who grew up are so loyal to brands that they know if this is a knockoff because this brand is missing this and this, or this brand is using a wrong font, or you know what I mean. So that's why branding is so important.
We've learned quite a bit from Andrew and Luthando about logos. So I asked them, what are some of your favorite logos?
You know, the funny thing is, I have so many different logos that I love, and I find that some of the biggest brands out there have the best logos, and I feel like the reason they have the best logos is because they have the best designers out there, you know, working on their logos, and you find that those designers know what makes a good logo. But like, let me just give you a few examples, like the Nike logo, versus the I love the even look at now, I'm on Skype. I love the Skype logo. I love the Apple logo. I love even like your MTN. Like, I'm proudly South African. I really love that logo. And those are some of, like, even your sports brands. Your Adidas logo is really nice. And so those are some of my favorite logos. So yes. Yeah.
My favorite and most people's favorite is the Nike logo. Simple as just a good mark, and then you're good to go. Of course, the designer would not know that the logo would be such a strong brand at the moment, but I think Nike logo, I like CNN logo too, simple CNN. Some others, but Nike is my favorite.
The reason why I think so many people love it is because of what it also means, because everyone's been at school and they know the value of a tick. A tick represents positivity and progress. So I think that in itself makes people warm to it. And I believe if there was a company that had a smiley as a logo, that would probably be just as popular because of the positive emotions it represents.
What you're raising is what good logo design is all about. It's about creating that connection. The Nike logo has nothing to do with sports, but like what it represents. So whenever you design a logo, you have to make sure you capture what the brand is all about. You know, like, logo is just a symbol, but the company builds the brand around the logo. If you can create that emotional connection with the user, through branding, through your logo, then I think you have done a good job. So that's what the good logo is about, you know?
Well, that does it for this episode of Business Mike. You can connect with Andrew online here.
Plugged.com. Plugged is PLOGGED.com. That's plugged like the normal plugged, PLUGGED, but the O is replaced with, the U is replaced with O. Then I'm on Instagram still at plugged.com. Plugged, the spelling, plugged, the dots spelled, DOT.com. And I'm on Behance. Behance is like it's a site for designers, basically. UX designers, photographers, like creatives, basically. Behance at Andrew Diete-koki.
And you can find Luthando here.
Facebook, it's Luthando Mfabe. Luthando Mfabe. Can I spell it out for you? LUKHANYO MFAB. Luthando Mfabe. And you can go to my website, warinnovation.co.za, and on my Behance, it's behance.net creative 685, CREATIVE 685. So that's where you can find me on the web.
Thanks for listening to the Business Mike podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to listen to more episodes just like this one, simply go to businessmike.com. If you've got any questions or feedback, you can reach me on Twitter at Daudi Mugabi, on Facebook at BusinessMike, or email, that's daudi@businessmike.com. Look out for a brand new episode every Monday, and until then, take care.